Story 1. No one is allowed to take the rental kayaks more than 100 feet from shore. No, I didn't steal the kayak. I did something much, much worse. I was hanging around a beach near South Padre with my grandpa, and I decided to do an hourly kayak rental. There was a cool little island like 200 yards from shore that I thought would be cool to paddle out to. The rental shop warned me not to paddle out perpendicular to the shore because I would wear myself out and get stranded. I bet you think you know where this story is going. You don't. So I'm paddling out perpendicular to the shore like the mad lad that I am. No problem. Those rental guys are fat smokers who don't know nothin'. I'm getting kind of close to the island when I stop to check out this orange concrete stationary buoy-looking thing because I could see two of them from shore and was wondering what they were. That's when I heard it. So the thing about Texas is, it's really, really flat. Even the beaches are super flat. So that means that even 200 feet away from shore, the water is still really shallow. I'd been looking out at this huge 80-yard-long cargo barge for the last few days and had been just parked out in the water, and I was wondering how the hell that thing was floating on only 8 feet or so of water and not scraping on the shore. So now back to me and the buoy. I'm looking at this thing, it's all covered in barnacles. I still don't know what it is or what it's for. I'm inspecting it like an idiot when I hear that noise. That effing noise that I still hear in my sleep. The barge had started up and was coming for me fast. That thing is cutting through the water at like 20 to 25 miles per hour. I'm freaking the F out. That thing has been sitting there for days, possibly weeks, and it starts up the minute, nay the second, that I cross out into no man's land. So what do you do when you're in a kayak in open water and a giant concrete death leviathan is coming at you? My thinking was that if I just hold on to this buoy thing, the barge isn't going to run over it, so I'll just hold on to the buoy. I paddle to it, grab on, and watch as that thing points exactly in my direction. I start to lose my nerve as that thing is getting closer and closer, still looking like it's aimed directly at me. Just imagine a sideways floating sky scummer coming right at you, or like that horrible feeling you get in your gut when you stand in front of a jumbo jet times 1,000. I lost it. I can't hold on to this buoy anymore. But there's another buoy about 30 to 40 yards away. I gotta make a break for it. I start paddling like crazy towards this other buoy. Surely the driver of that thing has noticed all this splashing and flailing around in a neon orange kayak, right? Well, in all of this flailing around, there's this moment where I look down. Remember how I said the water was really shallow? Well, I look down, and that crap looks like it goes down forever. I start feeling helpless. There's a giant void under me, death hurtling towards me, and the safety I'm trying to get to is a little stationary buoy. I make it to the other buoy. It's also covered in barnacles. I look out toward the barge, almost on top of me now. What the F? It turned! It's still aimed almost right at me. Now that it's closer, I think it might barely miss me, but that thing could still suck me right under and I'd be toast for sure. I grab onto the buoy, covered in sharp barnacles, while I'm still in my kayak. My hands are bleeding from gripping it so hard, as that wave of displaced water hits. I keep my grip. Blood is seriously dripping down. I look up at the barge from below as it passes around 12 feet away. Effing nightmares looking up at that thing. So, I manage to hold my grip as it passes, but it doesn't go much further. About 100 feet later, it stops really suddenly. Like unnaturally sudden. And no, the boat does not turn into a Loch Ness monster and ask me for about $3.50, but I really wish it did. No, it had run ashore. You know those buoy things? They were markers. Markers for the outer edges of the dugout canal that allows barges to come in and out of those shallow waters. That's why the barge was aimed at them. I'm guessing that the driver saw me in the water, tried to make some kind of adjustment that he was unable to recover from, and thus he went a bit too close to the outer edge of the canal. I don't know how many thousands of dollars that cost. I was terrified that someone would come knocking on our door because being the only person to rent a kayak, it would have been pretty damn easy for them to find out who caused the accident. But really, why wasn't that trench marked with some kind of sign, or maybe the King Barge could let people know when they're going to be running their death machines through a recreational beach? So I came out of that with some bloody hands and a few lifetime supplies of nightmare fuel, and the barge received God knows what kind of damage. It was stranded for the rest of the time I stayed at the beach, which was about 3 days. So that's why they don't allow people to kayak away from the shore. Also, that little island I was paddling to kinda sucked. Edit. A few clarifications. When the rental guy told me to not go straight out because I'd get tired, it was really more of a tease because I was really young and everyone else there was like 60. I also had to go far from the shore because close to the shore was too dense with surfers. Also, these buoys weren't the buoys you'd normally picture. No flashing lights. From far away, I thought they were just wooden poles sticking out of the water. There were people windsurfing out there into the trench area all the time. And the space between the buoys was really small, like too small, I thought, for the barge to fit between. So I'm thinking that these buoys must mark where the shelf drops off and the barge is going to go way out of its way to avoid it. Nope. Somehow it fits going through them. They were also the only buoys in the water from what I could see. Really strange setup, and not normally a place for barges to travel through anymore since it was now a recreational beach. My timing was just absolute balls. Texans would rather you cause thousands of dollars worth of damage than put up a sign infringing on your right to be in danger. Yep, you 100% have the right to F yourself up in Texas. Well, this person was certainly right. I thought I knew where the story was going from the beginning, and I most certainly did not. And yeah, I'm sure that cost the barge a ton of money, but to be fair, they should have been sounding off horns and all that stuff before they started up. That's really on them. Frankly, it almost sounds like they were just waiting there until they had the chance to run over someone, biding their time like a spider. Story 2. When I was in high school, I would go to band camp every year about 2 weeks before school started. My junior year, I brought a lot of food. It was a combination of disliking that camp's cafeteria and being on the high school version of a health craze. Along with the food, I brought saran wrap. I don't remember the exact logic. I wanted to wrap something edible, though. Well, every morning we were supposed to clean the cabin between reveille and breakfast. One kid, a year behind me, we'll call him Johnny, didn't want to clean and went back to bed instead. Johnny woke up a few minutes later completely immobilized by his saran wrap cocoon. Thus was born the contraband list. The list is about a page now, and my family is responsible for about half of it. Now every year, parents of freshmen, especially girls, raise their eyebrows at the words plastic or saran wrap near the top of the list. My band used to compete in the BOA Regional Championships in Las Vegas. They're now held in St. George, Utah, but that doesn't stop our band director from putting getting married on the list of things you are explicitly not allowed to do on tour. Edit. So I talked to my band director today, and his rule list is a conglomeration of rule lists from 3 band directors passed down to him. I know there is a story behind it, but the band director who wrote the rule was in charge 12 years ago. I'll keep digging around. Please like and subscribe if you made it this far. I hope you'll enjoy the rest of the video and have a wonderful day. Story 3. I worked at a big chain store in college. We used to get these displays in for speakers and home theater systems, and usually they had a sales pitch and demo loaded on a flash drive that would play when you pressed a button on the display. On a particularly slow Sunday morning, I took 3 or 4 of these flash drives and plugged them into a laptop, replaced all the audio files with Gangnam Style, and set the function to auto-run at 3 a.m. Before we closed the shop, I cranked all the displays up to max volume and inserted the flash drives. It took the night crew 3 nights to finally figure out how to stop the entire electronics section from playing that song at 3 a.m. So after that, management retained all flash drives that came in and had customers plug their phones to test out systems. That's awesome. I probably would have made it play Never Gonna Give You Up or one of Hitler's speeches. I like how somehow those 2 things are on the same level. As someone who used to sell TVs and home theater systems, on slow nights at the store, I would hook my phone into the home theater section and at full volume blast Careless Whisper by George Michael and dance through the TV department singing along. One time, my supervisor happened to be staying late, saw this, stared as I pointed at him still singing, and he just shook his head and walked away. Amazing song. Story 4. I caused an addition to my kid's private school handbook, which should have already been in it. My daughter came home and told me one of her classmates had confided in her that they were being abused. Being a healthcare provider, I'm required by law to report it to the local social services. I also informed the teacher just as a professional courtesy, as she would likely be questioned too. The brand new to the school pastor had a fit and told me it wasn't my place, that they would investigate it without the state being involved. I nicely told him to F off. He got some gory details of CPR I did on a victim of child abuse and informed him teachers are also mandated reporters. The next year, they added an action plan on how they handle suspected child abuse to the school handbook. We have not spoken more than 3 words to each other since this incident. More importantly, the child in question is alive and well, not being abused anymore. Good for you. I hate 6Cs who abuse children. Thanks. I have zero tolerance for abuse in any form, but it makes it even worse when it's a child suffering from it. I'm still quite proud of my daughter that she did the right thing and told an adult instead of keeping it a secret like the child asked her to. Story 5. It's an old one at my public school, but no snow forts. Some of us went a little too far and a snow tunnel collapsed on someone. We thought it was funny after we realized we didn't kill him, but the teachers did not. Edit. The tunnels were not OSHA approved. Edit 2. Guess I gotta clarify for some people, snow forts, not snow farts. I understand the teachers. A few years ago, there was a case where an 8-year-old child went missing in the dead of winter. They searched for days until he was found in a snow pile next to a neighborhood road, suffocated by a collapsed snow tunnel he had been playing in. As a kid, snow forts and tunnels were the crap though. Never had the idea crossed my mind that it would be dangerous. Not sure if I'd let my own kids play unsupervised like that. Edit. The accident happened in Finland in 2012, so I decided to edit this in because it was asked so many times. Yeah, I'd probably let them play, but well supervised. There's a balance for everything. Growing up in northern Minnesota, I'm no stranger to snow forts that got a little out of control, but also, as a little kid, I wasn't terribly brave, and when they got too big, I was afraid of that very thing and stayed clear. Thankfully, there were never any tragedies in our area, but they were always supervised. Story 6. At my work, we had a written rule that we cannot do any voice impressions over the drive-thru headsets, specifically Skeletor and Herbert the Pervert. Dude at my uni greeted me as Optimus Prime. He didn't do an impression or anything, just introduced himself by name. I was pretty tickled. Taco Bell workers generally seem happier than any other fast food joint. Just one more thing to love about it. Edit. Just got off work to find my top comment is now about my love for Taco Bell. Guys, I really like Taco Bell, but I super promise I don't work for them. Frankly, if I found a Taco Bell where someone on the drive-thru did impressions, I would go there all the time. Would you like some hot sauce with that? Yeah. Your total is 1033. Roll out to the first window. Story 7. The town I live in has a free bus that runs late at night through all the college neighborhoods and by all the dorms to discourage all the drunk college kids from driving home from downtown. One day, me and my wasted buddy were riding home when he discovered he had a bunch of bottle rockets in his coat pocket from a night earlier in the week. So, logically, we handed them out to everyone on the bus with the provision that they not set them off on the bus. This turned into a string of fireworks going off all over town right behind the bus for the whole ride. There are now big signs on all the buses that say, "No fireworks." Must be Daedalus Dingle. He never had much sense. r/unexpected Hogwarts. Story 8. I put a pencil in the microwave. Bang! No more elementary school microwaves. Oh, at my elementary school it was a single Pringle wrapped in cling film. Google doesn't tell me what that does. Story 9. No more than 30 cases of beer per vehicle. Instituted after I showed up at the beer distributors to buy their overstock beer with a step fan and bought all their overstock beer. Why though? I mean, they aren't losing profit. I could understand if you were going to resell the beer though, because there would typically be about a half dozen people camping out waiting for the beer sales to start. My friends and I walked out with close to 200 cases of beer and nobody else got any. For the person asking why they aren't losing profit, it's simple. Because events like that where you sell overstock are as much about being a marketing stunt as they are about just selling off the beer. That kind of stuff generates buzz and business, but not if everyone who goes gets nothing after waiting. They might have got all that profit that day, but it will cost them profit in the future. Man, sometimes I actually have insightful stuff to add in these videos. Who knew? Story 10. Not sure if this counts, but when I worked at Sears, the dress code required men to wear a tie. I wore the same bullet tie every day. 6 months later, Sears made a new dress code rule and gave memos to 100 employees. Bullet ties are only allowed with coordinating Western outfits. Next day I wear my boots and spurs with my bullet tie. Apple-bottom jeans and boots with the spurs? The whole saloon looking at her. Is this person meaning to say bolo tie, or have I just been saying it wrong all my life? One sec, I need to Google. Okay, unless it's some regionalism that I can't find on Google, I appear to be correct. I could re-record this and correct it for this person, but I refuse. Story 11. There's a cruise ship somewhere with a handwritten sign that says the floor is lava is strictly prohibited on the carousel, thanks to me. Ahoy, there drifts the grand and maiden bark on crystal seas of shifting ice, wherein midst round play of horse and goose and lark, new line composed of whittled wood and porcelain, there reads a haste-writ sign in layman's hand, no fools make meta games lest ye be banned. Do you do all your poems in ye old style? Story 12. No snowball fights on campus. My twin brother and I went to the same community college before university. I saw him sitting on a bench in the courtyard one day and threw a snowball at him. This started a chain reaction of a 50-plus person snowball fight. It was pretty crazy. Well, an undercover police officer was in the courtyard walking by and decided he should detain me, then threatened to get me kicked out of school. The dean asked that it not happen again, but wasn't nearly so eager to expel a student for throwing snow at his brother. Wait, what? Detain you on what grounds? The best part was that he didn't show me a badge or anything. He just started shouting orders, then took out a pair of handcuffs and threatened to arrest me for assault. I'm not sure he even believed I had initially started it. He just saw I was in the corner and couldn't run if I had wanted to.